Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one we're looking at the Fnatic Rush G1 Silent Gaming Keyboard. This is a Cherry MX silent switch keyboard. This keyboard's been built for esports gamers in mind, and Fnatic say it's built to support rapid keystroke commands while still providing all of the comfort, control and reliability that gamers need. Other cool features is it's got a USB pass-through, so you can always connect your headset or even your mouse to it. There's LED backlighting and onboard memory, which allows you to choose up to 5 different profiles of custom macro keys. Then also other little things such as a removable wrist rest and the key that disables the Windows key when you're in game. Now I've got the UK layout for you to see today, but you can get it in different layouts. I will put links in the description for you to have a look at, so you can get one that's region specific for you. And it does feature the Cherry MX Red silent switches, which are pretty much the same as the Reds, but they just don't have the noise, which can often be quite loud and off-putting. This will also make a great alternative for an office where you like a mechanical feeling keyboard, but without all the noise. The keyboard has a soft touch rubber around the outside, and then it's made with ABS plastic keys. I will touch more on that later on, but for now let's get inside the box. So once you flip the flap, the first thing you're going to see is the instruction manual and then 2 clips to connect the wrist rest. I'll show that later on. So onto the keyboard itself. The soft touch rubber gives it a very matte look, which I do like. The ABS keys are a little bit slippery, but it takes a lot of time for them to build up any grease, which I suppose is a plus there. Very nice simple layout, and you have got media controls and also brightness controls on the keyboard, which is good. On the top right of the keyboard we've got the Fnatic gear logo, then a simple number lock, caps lock, and then the Fnatic key. When that's engaged, that will disable the Windows key. Great, so you don't accidentally press that during gaming and then accidentally tab out of the game. These light up red when in use. Then below that you've got the 8 and 2, which act as the brightness controls for the backlight. It has 5 different backlight levels, and then the 5th is a breathing in and out effect. I will show that later on. Then you can also control your media, the volume level, volume mute, then access the 5 different profiles that the keyboard offers with the inbuilt memory. I will show you how to set all that up later on as well. Then all those controls are accessible by the function key, just one over from the spacebar. Very simple to use, and we have seen this implemented by other keyboards before. So the keyboard connects to your computer via a single USB. That's a nice braided cable as well, which is 1.8 meters in length, so plenty to get around your rig. It is a hardwired cable. I know some people do like a removable one. Considering this isn't the most expensive keyboard in the world, it's not really a problem. So even though it does use one single USB, you still have the 2-port USB pass-through, which I think is really great. Obviously it gives you more accessibility to your USB ports, especially if your rig is under the table or difficult to get to. Even if you just use it for the occasional USB drive or something, it's nice to have. On the underside you'll find 2 rubber pads that sit to the front of the keyboard, then also grips on the razor if you want to use that. Even though there's only 2 grips, I did find it stayed put, which was good. Then these are the little clips that you need to attach to the bottom of the keyboard in order to use the wrist rest. No magnets or anything this time unfortunately, but that being said, it is really easy to put on. Simply put in the 2 clips on the bottom of the keyboard, then once you place it flat on the desk you can simply slide in the wrist rest. The wrist rest is made of a similar soft touch rubber, and it can mark quite easily, and it's just simple plastic as well. There's nothing soft to it, so it does feel a little bit cheap. So onto the backlighting. This is a simple red, and it can't be changed by software or even on the keyboard itself. That's the only colour that's available. Now obviously there's pros and cons to this, but keeping in mind the fact that it's meant for esports, you're not going to want something that's flashy and kind of in your face, especially when you're trying to game. That's the least of your worries. You want to be really focused and engaged in what you're doing in the game. Now my studio lights do wash this out a little bit, so I wanted to show you it in the dark just before I switch them back on. And this is at full brightness. When it's actually on your desk it is a lot brighter than it looks, but it's just because my studio lights are so bright. As I said, it just washes it out a little bit. Just quickly touching on the soft rubber, as you can see at the very top it has got one of my fingerprints on there. It does smudge quite easily, so if you do happen to touch the side of the keyboard you will have to clean it quite often. So moving on to the switches, let's first give you a sound sample. Now the red silent switches work with a buffer that's actually in the keycap rather than maybe using a rubber O-ring. This basically stops the keycap from actually bottoming out and hitting the bottom plate, which is what you'd find with normal Cherry MX red switches, and thus allowing it to be a lot quieter. Now if we take off some of those keycaps you can see underneath it's all red. Obviously helps to illuminate the red backlight, just bring out the vibrancy a little bit. Also, as you can see there, just from taking off the keycaps to show you that, you can see some grease on the actual keyboard. So again, soft touch rubber, not really ideal. Now the software for the Rush keyboard is very simple, purely because there's no effect to control the backlighting or anything like that. Simply your options are going through the different profiles on the keyboard and then selecting your macro keys. So it's simply a case of pressing M1, then when you want to control the macro, so basically assert it to any key, use the drop down box to then decide what you want to do with it. So for example you could launch a game just from pressing one key. but in this case I'll show you how to use a macro. Then the little box will pop up and you can just literally start recording and then type exactly what you want to do in that box to then assign it to one key. So for example, you could run a series of commands in Premiere Pro, for example, or for any game or software for that matter as well. Click OK and then apply and it will be ready. For example, pressing the N key, then whites out that text below. Don't forget to while you're there. Then of course those 5 different banks are displayed on the keyboard to use with the function key, so you can go between those on the fly. And the Fnatic button also acts as the macro button, so if you disable that you can go back to the normal keyboard and carry on as normal. So I've gone around the features of the keyboard, now it's time to give you my thoughts. But in terms of the keys, I do like the silence that they do offer. Obviously it's not 100% silent, but it's as close as you're going to get. Definitely does feel like the normal Cherry Red, but without the bottoming out and loudness. I think the sound it does produce is somewhat similar to a membrane keyboard. Gaming on it is a pleasure, but one thing I did find is it's a little bit harder to type with. I think that may just be a personal thing though, and other people may find it a lot easier. Now after my review, one big downside I did find was this. These are the clips that hold on the wrist rest, and they just purely snapped when I went to put it on again after finishing the filming of this video. So obviously a big downside there. I'm sure I can get some more if I reach out to the Fnatic team though. I'm sure that will be sorted out. So for the next iteration, I'd say just go with magnets, or if they do want to use a clip design, go for something maybe metal and something a lot stronger. These are very specific, but purely because I'm a reviewer I wanted to pick them out. Is that the light doesn't come through quite evenly on the keycaps where they've been etched out. Obviously very minor, but something to point out. And on some areas of the keyboard, the font does feel quite squashed together. Now minus those small things, so the current price of $79.99, I think it's a really good buy. And personally for me, because last year seemed to be the year of RGB, that it was nice to actually go to something that was just a single colour and that was more simplistic. Although some people won't like it, it was actually nice for me for a change. Unlike everything else, it's just in your face. So if they could just change the clips that go to the wrist rest, then the texture of the keyboard, this would be an absolutely solid product. It's got a great build anyway. So just those extra 2 things would tick all of the boxes. So thank you for checking out this video guys. If you want to get one for yourself, I will put the links in the description box below. If you haven't already subscribed, do it! Thank you for watching. Thank you for Fnatic for sending this out for me to review. And I'll see you all in the next one.